All right. Awesome. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. We will have a lot of people trickling in. I am going to give you co-host capability again, as always, Keely. So if you can help me bring people in, that would be amazing. And then I'm going to go ahead and make an introduction to Stephanie in a minute. But before we move into the revenue share portion, like we always do, we have Mark and Drew here. They're going to give us a quick update on what's happening in the world of financing and mortgages. And then we're going to move right into our revenue share portion. So hello, Drew and Mark. Thanks for being here again, as always.
Awesome. Great to be here with you. And we'll be quick because I know we got some great speakers today. So wanted to talk about just a couple things. One, next week, Mark's going to show you a tool that we are working on called HomeBot. That is going to be a tool where you can help keep yourself top of mind with your past clients and provide valuable information surrounding home values, what's going on in their neighborhood, and even help start them on a real estate search within that. So they're not going to somewhere like Zillow or Realtor.com and your face is staying in front of them constantly. So we look forward to showing you all that next week. Mark will do a presentation on that then. Tomorrow, we're having our first event. So I will post a link in the chat again if you're local to the Charlotte area. We got a good turnout expected so far, so we're excited about that. The next event is going to be November the 1st, and it's going to be dealing with the topic of appraisals, which I'm sure a lot of people are very interested in an evolving market. So we'll have Colin Niebauer, the head of Karis Appraisal Management Company, who we use for our appraisals here locally, there to give us an update on what we're seeing there. So we're looking forward to that. I'll get the link for the event for that set up and get that out to everybody as well. Now, for the fun mortgage stuff, I'm going to share my screen real quick. I want to share one tip with y'all that can help you sell more houses. Let's see here.
Who doesn't want that?
Does everybody know what a temporary 2-1 buy down is? Are people familiar with that and hearing about that in the marketplace right now?
Yes.
Cool. And just to make sure I share the right screen, you guys can see that. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. Awesome. So for those of you who don't know and aren't being talked about it right now, a 2-1 buy down is a temporary rate buy down where you can help the buyer's payment be lower for the first 2 years of the mortgage. So starting to become more popular right now as listings are sitting a little bit longer. Sellers want to be more competitive with things like new construction and attracting the most qualified buyers. So the way that they do that, in year one, your interest rate is 2% lower than what it would be at the market. So we worked this up last week for a partner of ours who had a listing coming up. He was going to a listing presentation and presented this to the seller as a way to help make their home more attractive. They're up against a timeline with new construction where their home has to sell. So they need those proceeds to close on their next home. So they don't really have time to play around with not selling their home and having it sit on the market, right? So year two, your interest rate is going to be 1% than what the market rate is today. So in this example, the market rate was 6.625. Year one, the buyer's payment was going to be based off a 4.625 rate, which was a little bit over $500 a month, less expensive to the buyer. So some good savings there. And then in year two, it's based off a 5.625 interest rate. Now there are costs associated with this for the buyer, right? So here's a breakdown of some costs where if you're getting a $400,000 loan amount versus a $475,000 loan amount, ranges from like the low 9,000s to the upper 10,000s for cost. Here's a cool part of this that no one's really talking about that I don't think, right? So if you think you're going to have the opportunity to refinance in the next 2 years, this money doesn't disappear. This money goes towards principal reduction on your loan when you go to refinance. So let's say 6 months from now, we're in a market where, hey, I can get a 4.75% interest rate fixed for 30 years. Great. Let's go ahead and lock that, get you secured on that so your payments are down permanently. But this $9,000, let's say you borrowed $400,000. That's going to go towards principal reduction. So your new loan amount on your new loan is going to be $9,000 less than what it would be just based off the normal amortization schedule. So that money doesn't just disappear into thin air. It'll continue to exist. And it actually is a neat way that you can actually have a seller pay your principal down, which is can't be done on any other product. So this is a great tool out there that we think if for the right seller, someone whose house is sitting out there for a little bit longer, if they're up against a tight timeline, this is a way to make your listing more attractive, right? If the seller is willing to do this, it's also a way to avoid price reductions as well, right? Maybe it's something where you need to reduce your price by $1,000 just to get back in front of everybody, but offer a credit to do this. So if
Yeah,
you're
I mean, at the end of the day, Drew, I mean, when you're doing a price reduction as a seller, you're not doing a $9,000 price reduction. You're probably not doing a $10,000. I mean, if you really need to do a price reduction to get a property moving, I'm talking to a lot of my partners, it's definitely more than $10,000. So we're using this strategy because it's actually going to be less expensive for a seller. And it is a great value. I didn't realize what you just mentioned was that it pays down the principal. That's an amazing thing that I didn't know. And I've been talking about this with a lot of our partners as a great strategy. So that's fantastic information.
Well, you know, these products haven't, to be frank with you, just speaking honestly, like to me, this product didn't make any sense when rates are 5%, right? Things are still affordable, right? But when rates are getting up to upper 6-7%, this is a great way to get buyers in, especially when we look back at what we watched last week with the economic data, where we firmly expect we're going to have the opportunity for lower rates here at the end of the year or first quarter of next year. So it's a valuable way to do it. It's a great way to have a win-win for your seller and your buyer. And your life as an agent can be easier because you don't have to do price reductions. Neighbors are still going to be excited that homes are still maintaining their value there. So if you're on this call, we want to work with you on a strategy like this. So I'm going to post all of our contact information in the chat here. As well as a video explaining this, as well as a video or a link to our event tomorrow. So we hope to see you if you're local in Charlotte tomorrow. It's going to be a fun event. If not, we hope to catch you on the next one, which will be the first Tuesday of every month.
That's awesome. Thank you guys. As always, remember you guys, we do this at the beginning and we always talk about strategies because first and foremost, we all need to continue to sell real estate. We need to continue to produce and be that person. That's the most attractive person we can be, both to other agents and to more clients. And we need to be in the know and we need to get out there and be the messenger, right? We need to share these things, be creative and come outside of the box because that's what people pay us to do. If Drew and Mark cannot service you in your area because you are not in their area or in an area that they service, you should be asking your local loan officer about this. And you should be getting this information out, doing some info sessions, get creative, get the word out. And go find clients and go find listings with this information. We know buyers are always driven by mortgage payment. Most of them are well approved way more than they actually spend. It's not that they're not able to be approved in these instances, it's that they don't want to spend the money on the payment. This can be a great solution. So thanks you guys for bringing that up. Make sure that you check the chat, copy and paste all the things that Drew is putting in there so you can take it away before we close the call. Any questions on that before we move on? All right, thanks guys, as always, and good luck, have a good event. All right, we're gonna get right into our call today. We have Stephanie Gilzan here. I had the chance of meeting Stephanie at our Success Coaching certification, but I know Keely and Rich have known her for a lot longer than me, but I was very impressed and we got to spend some time together on that call. What I'm very excited about is to hear about Stephanie's journey in revenue share growth and growing her organization. She also has a tremendous amount of insight on the commercial side because that's where her experience lies and how she's growing her business. And there's many of us throughout these calls that have asked questions about how do we continue to help people see the opportunity of the commercial side of EXP, because it's a massive opportunity right now for people. And we just don't always have all of the ways in which to do it. So I think today is going to be an extremely informative and valuable call. So thanks for joining and make sure that you unmute yourself, ask questions, chat in the chat box, and I'll go ahead and monitor that for you, Stephanie, if there are questions there. Before we get into the nitty gritty, of course, let's have you introduce yourself. Give us a little bit of your background. We're really excited to have you here and thank you for spending the time with us.
Absolutely, Carrie, and good to see you again as well, because the Success Coaching, was also an amazing journey, and glad that we got to, graduate that together. So it was amazing. But let's see here. The year is now 2022, and I got started in this industry right out of college in 1999. Graduated college, got my license right before, and really all I wanted to do was find the right commercial brokerage to build my business, because that was the industry part that I wanted to go into. And when I couldn't find the right spot, I ended up joining a local independent brokerage. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, just for everyone out there. And when I joined this independent brokerage, there was like one computer in the office. They didn't know how to use anything. They were just all the way residential, which was fine. So I started learning the residential piece as well as what I'd already known in commercial. And within about 6 months, I realized that I needed to start my own real estate brokerage in order to do what I wanted to do. And so that's what I did. At 21 years of age, I opened my first real estate brokerage, which ended up turning into something larger than I ever planned on. I didn't plan on growing a brokerage. I was just trying to build a brokerage that enabled me to do the business that I wanted to do. And soon, agents kept calling saying, look, I want to do business like you. Can I come to your brokerage? And so it kind of grew on its own. And in 2002, I was one of the top 30 agents under 30 years of age in the nation. My brokerage became a franchise brokerage in 2004 because I got sold on this red Kool-Aid that was, going to take me to the next level and going to make me great and give me this national branding and all the things that I didn't have. And I went down that path and in about 8 months realized that it was the same thing I'd already invented. It was the same exact thing. There was nothing coming to the table. There was no better education. There was no real collaboration because all we were doing was growing this office inside these 4 brick walls that were competitors of one another, and nobody wanted to share. And it was really a letdown for me because I'd always been in the industry to help as many people as I could. I'm a firm believer that the more we give back and the more we share, the better off we all are. And so that was my entire mission, getting recognized early on at 23 years of age. Engulfed me into the nation where I could then collaborate with like-minded individuals in real estate and truly learn from them to scale my business. And that's what I couldn't build as an independent brokerage. But again, doing the franchise concept didn't get me there either. And so I sold that office February 14 of 2008, and I went back to being independent. I scaled my business not only into more, real estate sales and transactions, but I became a developer. I owned a home building business, still do to this day. I really got my brand to a level to where it had instant recognition with so many people in the industry and future clients. And then let's see here, it was November of 2017, I get this random phone call and it's somebody reaching out and wanting to just spew on me, EXP, EXP. And I think the call went, what? I don't have time for this. Click. And thank God there's persistence, right? Because my rule of thumb has always been a no is a no at that moment, but it can be a yes an hour later, or it can be a yes a day later, or it could be a yes a year later, right? And so you always have to keep that mindset. And so the persistence kept, and finally I looked at EXP. And what I saw in EXP was exactly why I think we're all here on this call together for those that are part of EXP, is that I saw it as an opportunity to take Gilzan, who already was established in the state of Kentucky, but then expand it through all 50 states. And currently my real estate team does business in 27 states where we hold have listings, and also in 4 countries. And that's what I couldn't do as an individual in an independent brokerage, but I've been here doing that. And I think my excitement and the truth behind it all, because I've proven its concept and how it can take us from doing 250 million a year in volume to $1 billion, or hopefully 3 billion next year, is the excitement. And so that immediately happens for me when it comes to revenue share. So sorry, I don't like talking about myself. You did a good job,
that's
Carrie.
Perfect. Who else wants to learn from Stephanie about revenue share after that introduction? I do. So yes, we're all excited, and we've got more and more people joining. So thank you again for doing this, because you're going to impact a lot of people today, Stephanie, and we really appreciate you. So let's start from the beginning. So you finally found this place. You said no at first, like everybody does. I said no for years before I finally said yes. It took Rich Tomasini to get me to open my eyes. I jokingly say that, but really it also is timing, right? Timing's everything. We can't force people's timing. But if we're consistent and we're persistent, we listen to our gut, we think we should reach out to somebody, we probably should. There's a reason that we're feeling called to potentially do that. And I feel like if we talk to enough people all the time, we end up being there at the right time for a lot of people. And that's the recipe for success. So people were persistent with you. Thank goodness they were. You're at EXP. And this finally was a place, if I'm reading between the lines, that you were able to find where you truly could partner with people who are your competitors and collaborate with them and grow and everybody succeed together. And then of course, this idea of expansion and being able to move into different markets with ease is truly revolutionary here. And most people really, I don't think, embrace that or understand that to the level that some of us do that have tried to do it in other places. And so it's amazing. So would you say those two things really have been the most powerful for your growth? Collaboration, even though, we're competitors and really achieving together, and then the ability to expand with ease. Would you say that? And is there anything else as we begin the call that have been
100% that, but also I would add to the fact that, we all have special gifts inside of real estate, right? And there was a lot that, even though I had experienced success and had tremendous success when EXP found me, the truth of the matter is that there was still more to do. Like EXP taught me, this isn't the end. And so I'm one of those people that I am constantly looking for the next thing to take me and those affiliated with me to that next level. And that's what I immediately saw when I peeked behind the curtain at EXP. For me, it wasn't the whole revenue share piece that attracted me. It was, how do I scale? And how do I take the people with me and scale? I owned an independent brokerage. And so I had an opportunity at that moment, and why timing made sense for me was because all these other franchise brands were trying to purchase my company. And, I always say, and many of you have probably heard this out of my mouth before, is that when you sell your company, you are then marrying something, right? And I'd already had the big franchise issue and bad experience of where that wasn't a fit for me, right? And so for me, it's either sell my company or what's my exit strategy, right? What is my exit strategy? And so for me, when I saw EXP, I saw the ability to keep my company, but put it on this platform that was going to make my company worth so much more. And so instead of taking the lump sum payout, where then I was going to be, with that brand for however many years they would put in the contract, minimum of 5, most likely they were wanting 10, and not like something and lose full control. I came here and just exploded it. And that's what everybody has the opportunity to do. I think people miss that they're always looking for that paycheck really fast. And if you learn to wait it out, then that's when you see maximum growth. And that's why when I'm able to sit down with other independent owners or even franchise owners, I can show that to them because I've experienced it.
So that's fantastic. So whether we're talking to other independent broker owners, and it doesn't matter their size, they might have 2 agents, they might have 200 agents. They tend to feel the same way, which is the reason they want to be independent, is for that independent broker owner, is for that first word. They want independence. And so their option when you look at being purchased by or partnering with or a franchise is you're giving up all of that independence. And so EXP is very different in that they can still keep their company, run their company, and run it very independently in most aspects. But they don't have limitations, and they don't have to marry a partner or franchise for 10 years, whether they like it or not. And they really can take some of that pressure or those limits off of themselves, which is what many of them feel, and actually see an exit strategy. But what about those people, Stephanie? Because some of us maybe don't talk to a lot of broker owners. And so I think there's a lot of people out there that would have thought about starting their own brokerage because they have that independence in them. They want to do something more than they're doing, but they haven't necessarily wanted to do the work and take on the liability. This is a great conversation for those people because they could start their own company, so to speak, inside EXP right now, right?
Absolutely. And that's what I always speak to. I've been there, I've done that. I've owned the independent brokerage. And as an independent broker owner or any office owner or any team owner for that matter, you're taking on the risk. And so I compare it to a bank. As the broker owner, you are the bank because the bills still have to get paid regardless of if the agents are selling or not, and regardless of how much fee you're making. And any independent broker owner, I always say, look, if you're, I get to the gritty of it. You're making money, right? That's why you're in business, Barry. You're making money. So how much money did you make last year? I push them to that limit. I want them to tell it to me. Why? Because as independent broker owners, or any of us in the sales industry, we want to pound our chest and tell you how much money we make. So ask the question and welcome it. Those that get offended, we know that they're not doing well, and that's okay. You can walk that back. But let's ask them, so how much money did you make off your brokerage last year? Because here's the thing, they're going to tell me that. And then when I sit down with them and we go through those numbers, I say, number one, what we're going to do, Barry, is we're going to take your production out of it. Let's subtract your production right off the top. Now let's see how much money you're making. Okay, now how much did you pay in salaries? How much did you pay in insurance? How much did you pay in advertising? The rent, whatever the case might be. They're really not making all that much money. And so when those that brought me into EXP went through a similar process with me, they weren't that great. They weren't that good at it, right? We've all learned from them attracting me. And so now we've mastered it. But that was one of the things. They forgot to tell me to take my own production out of it. And the truth of the matter is that we were doing somewhere around $3.8 million in income. But when we took out the expenses and we took Stephanie Gilzan out of that equation, it basically fell in half immediately, right? But the expenses are all still there. You can never half out the expenses. So take out what that is, because most independent broker owners are in it to keep 100% of their commission, or so they think. They have brainwashed themselves to believe they're earning 100%, but they're not. They are just paying for that name to be on the door. And so my plan is to show them. I say to them, you know what, Barry, I want to show you how to keep that name on your door. I want to show you how to become bigger than you are today. And what I want to show you is how you do that at absolutely no cost to you, with absolutely no liability and no risk. I want you to not have to be the bank again. Does that sound like a plan? Let's experience that together. And that's what we go through, because that's what it is. And so I didn't give up my company. That was the first thing that people would say in my market. I can't believe you gave up your company. Oh, no. No, I'm going to show you how I'm going to elevate my company a much smarter way, because I'm going to get rid of all my expense, number one. And then I'm going to make it all back in revenue share. And this is how. But I'm really going to make 100% of my commission.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
By the way, Barry's sold. He's joining you. That's what he said in the chat.
Barry's got 415 agents. He's a little late to say that. Hey, Stephanie, you know what's so cool about the way that you say that too is that if EXP wasn't delivering for you, you take your company back, where you can't do that with a lot of these other places.
That's exactly right. And that's what I said when I looked at it, and when I was on the fence where I had one leg in, but I still had that one leg out. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? It took me thinking, if it sucks, I still have my company. I'll just go back to doing what I did. Nobody will even know the difference. And so that was that was exactly, and that was 4 years and 9 months ago. I'm still here.
I love it. So I want to switch gears a little bit, because we're super excited to pick your brain a little bit on the commercial side, because many of us want to and have friends in the business on the commercial side. And I believe EXP commercial is like EXP residential was, 4 years ago when you joined. Probably there's so much opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit about just the opportunity at EXP commercial, so that we understand it, so we can share it with other people, and how you share it with other people?
Absolutely. Well, number one question in commercial real estate is, how much did you pay your broker? Because here's the thing, all commercial companies out there have such high splits. And when you say cap to them, they don't even know what you're talking about. Like, that's such a residential term. So get that out of the way. All right. I always go straight, just like I do the independent brokers. How much money did you make? But in this case, I'm going to say, how much money did you pay your broker since January 1 or last year, or however you want to phrase it? And then I go straight to the whole fact of, okay, well, I want to show you how you only give up $20,000 of your money. Are you interested in that? Now, who would say no to that? Just go straight to what matters. And, revenue share is like number 18 on the list. Okay. And the reason why that is because you will be speaking to individuals, guys and gals, that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of each and every deal. So something to them like revenue share is not going to be the selling point at all. I wouldn't even bring it up. Let it be the sprinkles on the cupcake. I've done that in so many different ways where I've had people join and they're signing the ICA, they're filling it out online and they go, what is this revenue share thing? Oh, those are sprinkles on a cupcake. We'll go over that next week when you get all your systems set up. And I'm serious when I say that because it's not the driving factor, but to just specifically speak to them about, I want to show you how you're not going to pay more than $20,000. That's what it's about. Because when they're doing a $200,000 commission and they're on a 50-50 split, do the math. I mean, they've way surpassed that. That's why at eXp Commercial, a lot of agents are capping on their first transaction. One transaction, boom, they're done. They're 100%. So go straight to what matters, and that's what's going to matter. I was on a call earlier today, a different call, and I was listening to some of the conversations going back and forth. And one of the things that I believe in, and everyone has their own different ways to attract. Rich does it probably differently than me. There's nothing wrong with the ways we're doing it. The way I'm comfortable is exactly the way I do business. I just go straight for it. Just go straight for it, right? Yeah, there's times that I'm going to have to walk it back, but I'd rather just get to the nitty gritty of it. But I want to learn about their business. I want to learn about them so that I can best speak to it. And, every attraction call that I've ever done for commercial or realty, they all go very differently because everybody has a different need.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of specific questions about commercial and residential that I want to get to before Rich has to jump off the call when he picks up his son. First one is, talk about when agents mainly do residential, but they still take down large commercial deals. Do you have to pick a lane? Do you advise to do both? Like, talk a little bit about that first, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Well, at eXp Realty, we're NAR members. Okay. So we've got to be part of the board of realtors. And if that's something that they need to do their business, then they need to be at Realty. And they can absolutely do those commercial deals at Realty. There's nothing against that. You just can't do the business transaction where you're just selling the business. And so, with me and my team, we're straddling. We have agents at eXp Realty. We have agents at eXp Commercial. I'm a developer and I build luxury subdivisions. So I have that residential component, which is why my license is at eXp Realty now. My husband and my son are at eXp Commercial.
So you can be at Realty and do commercial, in which case you would have the eXp Realty cap, which is less than the commercial cap as well. So when we're talking about numbers, but that would only make sense if they are doing mostly residential, because my understanding, Stephanie, maybe you can clarify this, is that there are some pretty amazing tools and technologies at eXp Commercial. And when I've dug into that a little bit, it sounds like it is far surpassing most other companies. Can you dive into that a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, eXp, we think about technology, right? And so we wanted to make sure that not only was the commission split and the cap structure so just downright ridiculous as it relates to other commercial brokerages, but the tech package per month. I mean, just one of those tools build out is $470 per month. At eXp, it's included in the $250 monthly charge. And so when prior to eXp, we were spending close to $3,100 to have the tools that eXp Commercial offers. And so that there is very impressive and important to know and understand that, especially when you're speaking to even a lot of these franchise offices in commercial real estate. Their average roster is about 17 agents. That's it. Okay. So imagine paying 17, $3,000 per month. That's a lot of overhead. So when you show an independent or a franchise owner that alone, that saves them a fortune.
Wow. So $250 a month is the monthly fee on the commercial side versus the 85 on residential, to confirm. Yeah.
That's
And the
correct.
tools are all included in that, which would cost them dramatically more money than that monthly fee. So they have access to great. So if they're doing the majority of their business in commercial, it really makes sense for them to be on the commercial side. While on the commercial side, can they do some residential transactions if they do a few of those? Is there any issue with that?
They can, they're just not going to have an MLS membership, which might make it tough.
Okay. So they would need to partner with somebody in their organization to do that, or co-listed or something of that nature. So
Can I
can
ask you a question?
Yes.
Can you do both though? Like if you want to have all the tools of the commercial membership, if you will, and the residential, some realties are mixed where maybe a team lead does commercial, but the rest of the firm does residential and some commercial. And the owner wants to have access to both tools.
Well, that takes somebody being a member, at either place. Yeah.
So you cannot be a member.
One agent can't be at both companies.
Okay.
So you need to partner with somebody, maybe a direct partner of yours at EXP on the realty side, you do the commercial side, and then you can allow the agents that join you to have access to certain things. Is that what I'm hearing correctly, Stephanie?
Exactly. Yeah. Until EXP changes that, which I'm not sure if that's in the works or not.
Okay, perfect. Barry had a quick, yep.
Okay,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rich.
No.
Go ahead.
Stephanie, does the commercial, solely the commercial side have a revenue share program?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Is it
Yeah.
similar to what we understand on the residential side?
It's exactly the same percentages and so forth. And I mean, that's the great thing is that you can attract to both companies regardless of which you're affiliated with. And so that goes back and forth. So everyone that's with EXP Realty has an opportunity to attract to EXP Commercial and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And the question was answered by somebody else in the chat for Barry. It was just about the CRM, unless you have any other update on the CRM on the commercial side, Stephanie.
I don't, guys, I'm not corporate anymore. For the first time in 4.5 years, I've not held any type of, I'm not a corporate person. I'm just an agent like all of us on this call. I just have a little bit more insight because I was there for the groundbreaking of it all, right?
Love it. That's awesome. Yeah, it sounds like that's in the works. So more to come. We'll all be kept apprised of that. So, one thing that I've noticed, and I'd love your take on this, Stephanie, when I ran the Keller Williams office and we started to recruit commercial agents, it was very common on the residential side for people to have and build real estate teams. On the commercial side, not as common. They kind of stayed in their own lane. Sometimes people had niches in the commercial. They sometimes worked together and referred business, but we were actually in our state, the very first, market center to actually bring in a group of commercial agents and help them build what was kind of considered a traditional team through the Keller Williams model at that time. And I thought it was fascinating because we know how, collaborating together in some way, shape, or form. Of course, this is pre-EXP, so I prefer the self-organized versus traditional, but in that moment, that's what we had access to. I thought, what a fascinating opportunity for people to partner with people in different niches of commercial and actually be more of a collaborative team versus just competitors referring together, because couldn't we all go get more business together if we could share with all of our spheres of influence and social media all of the experience we had in all of these commercial niches? Like, it just made sense to me. Why aren't we utilizing each other's skills and experience to go get business for each other, receive referral fees, co-list or work together on transactions? And so we did that, and they're still together as a traditional team, which has its downfalls. But that's essentially what you've done, Stephanie, is built across the nation a collaborative, self-organized group of both commercial and residential agents. By the way, residential and commercial agents bring a lot of value to each other too, don't they? So talk a little bit more conceptually about that. I just think that's amazing. And we need to understand that as we're out there talking to people and seeing it as our own opportunity too.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, in commercial, you've got so many different product specialties or asset classes, right? And there's a lot of people that they choose that one niche or those couple of niches. Well, in my experience, when I started in commercial real estate, in my market, I needed to be what was considered a generalist. So I had to learn a lot of different niches, okay? And so, from land development to industrial to, I've done everything, leasing, you name it. But now I always say now that I've grown up, my team, we've got, on our team, we've got 9 with EXP commercial, and they are scattered throughout the United States. And so we've got team members in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Florida, Texas, you name it, Minnesota. So what we have are specialists in those niches, but we're all collaborating and working together. And so whether they're in that hospitality space and all they want to do is luxury resorts, scattered throughout the globe, or whether they're, in the medical office space or what have you, that's what we've built together. And the collaboration is amazing because we all are running into opportunities. And in the past, if somebody said they needed a multi-site, triple net leasing opportunity, that wasn't a space that I fell in love with. And so I would just turn it down. Well, now we don't have to turn it down because we have a person on our team that is able to handle those site locations and site selections and so forth. And we have the QSR space covered. So we've got massive corporate accounts now where we're representing the brands at the corporate level to sell off, whether they're the Hardys or the Shalatskys or the Carl's Juniors, whatever the case might be, we have those clients now. And so that has enabled us to expand and grow. And because we're with EXP, it makes it all the easier and better because when I owned a KW office, I wasn't about to go do business with some other KW Market Center person because there wasn't the same synergy there. Everybody did business differently. But here at EXP, it enables us to be able to scale and grow. And so now with my residential agents, we take on large developments because I'm a developer, I'm a builder. Yes, a lot of those I do myself. So a lot of the residential inventory I happen to also own. But because of that, we've picked up other large development opportunities. And now I've got agents that I put in those and they're working those. So to build a team at EXP, it's so much better than any other place you could do it.
Yeah, I mean, all of those are opportunities that would have been very challenging for you to navigate different states, moving from commercial to residential, finding agents, making it a win-win from a financial perspective. All of those things become much more taxing and challenging outside of the EXP model. But when you can just go find like-minded people that want to be part of your collaborative group, and you can bring them into your world no matter where they are, and you can create that synergy amongst your people in such an easy way. Look at the doors of opportunity. A lot of those things you just wouldn't have had the bandwidth to even expose yourself to. You probably have the knowledge, but just the bandwidth and the opportunity to do that would have been much more challenging. And even if you had, probably would have taken a lot longer than 4 years, right?
Absolutely. And a whole lot more licenses necessary for myself to have, right? Who wants all
That's
that
right.
continuing ed?
Yeah, so think of the hours, literal hours that you would spend on that instead of pouring into your people or finding new opportunities or, finding synergies. So I'm curious really quickly, and then we're going to open up for questions. I love this concept of, partnering with people both on the commercial side and the residential side, because what I noticed when we brought our commercial team into our market center is that we really facilitated opportunities for them to refer business and find more transactions and more referral fees and more commissions because of each other. There's great synergy if you build a great relationship with someone on the commercial side and your residential, or vice versa, because everybody has a database and a sphere, and there's probably opportunities that you're not finding or seeing because you don't have that expertise. So how have you cultivated some good opportunities by growing your organization, both on the commercial and residential side at EXP?
Well, I'll challenge everybody with this. After we get off this call, pick up the phone, call one of your clients that you're working with on a house sale or worked with in the past on a house sale, and ask them if they have anyone that needs to buy or sell a business. Ask that one phrase. You'll be amazed at what that leads to. Okay. Oh yeah, I know this. when you start asking those questions of your own clients, that's going to tell you exactly who you need to go out and start building relationships with. And we have all of these people at EXP, whether they're at EXP Commercial or EXP Realty, because a workplace, it's easy for us to find them. You know, if someone reaches out to me, a client reaches out to me and says, look, I need, and this happened this week already, well, yesterday, as a matter of fact, we need help in Maryland with a cannabis land development. Cannabis is not my expertise. I haven't learned enough about it. And the big reason why is because Kentucky hasn't legalized it. Okay. And so I don't know. But at EXP Commercial, there's like a whole group of cannabis experts that I will collaborate with on that project. I'm not giving it away. I'm going to take that opportunity to learn and make money with it.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I wanted you to say, which is, you guys, you're not even finding all of this commission opportunity and to deepen your relationships with your sphere, because you're not talking about anything on the business sale or the commercial side of things, because you're just residential, if that's your situation, or vice versa. If you really focus on commercial and maybe aren't looking for the residential opportunities, what you seek, you will find. If you're not seeking it, it won't come obvious to you. You could be leaving thousands, 20s of thousands of dollars and deepening the relationship as a real estate expert that can really span the gamut by not talking to your people. So first, go talk to your people and see the opportunity, refer intercompany as you need to, but then go start talking to some commercial agents in your market and see if they would like to have some synergy with a great group or another residential agent like yourself, and finding the opportunity. And then what is the first step, Stephanie, before we open it up? Because I don't want to forget to ask you this. If we have a relationship with someone in the commercial space and they are curious about EXP Commercial, what would you advise be the next step as far as an EXP Commercial Explained or a website, or what's the best resources that you have found?
There are so many videos on EXP Commercial YouTube channel. I mean, I was in a bunch of those videos, and there's some great videos out there that explains the model, but it also gives great interviews to those that have joined the company, to give that validation, and then reach out to the commercial ops team and James Wong, the president. They're there to help you guys and to assist you at those, but they've got a growth site. I'm not sure, I don't have that link handy, but just learning those things and really being able to speak it. I mean, I use a really, really simple tactic to reach out to agents in commercial. And I do it through LinkedIn, and I reach out and I say, hey, John, I see you're in the commercial industry as well. Here's a link to my calendar. I'd like to spend 15 minutes with you, learn about your business, and see if there's a way that we can make money together. They jump on every time. That's all I do. They jump on all the time. And then they come onto the call, and guess what I do? I ask them about their business, because guess what? I go into every conversation, whether it's on Zoom, which most of them are, or if they choose to be on the phone because they're driving, I'm going to leave that call with one thing: money. And here's how. I'm going to find out what they do and see if I can do business with them. But also, I'm going to hope to bring them into this company, as the next EXP Commercial agent. And majority of the time, maybe not on the first call, but we're doing business, we're making money together, and that's how we're building trust. When you spend enough time learning about them, they will ultimately ask about you.
Yeah.
And then that's when you share it with them.
Love it. I love that. That's, by the way, I think that script, you could work for almost any agent, because any entrepreneur, any salesperson wants to make more money and see how together we could make more money. And so I think that's a really great script to set an appointment with anyone. And I love LinkedIn as well. I'm connecting with a tremendous amount of residential agents on LinkedIn, and what an easy way to have somebody just click a link and get on and by the way, 15 minutes, there's something there that Stephanie said, people will take 15 minutes. They do not want to be on a call for 30, 45 minutes, way too long. If you say it's going to be short and sweet, it's about how we can work together and make some money, most people will jump on it. Then you have to just get into question asking mode and building rapport, learning about their business and finding ways of synergy. If you don't have ways of synergy, maybe you would say, well, gosh, I heard, we've got some amazing commercial agents that are always looking for great people to collaborate with. And, here's how they're collaborating intercompany. I'd love to show you how you could tap into that. You don't have to be the person. Remember, there's a tremendous amount of commercial agents that they could collaborate with. So you don't have to be Stephanie to be able to have these conversations, right? All
That's
right,
right.
questions. Unmute yourselves. We have about 10 minutes. And so I want to make sure that if there are any more questions, we can get them answered. Let me check on our work chat to see if anybody's asking there too while I'm thinking of it. We have a number of people giving you thumbs up and viewing the live stream as well. So hi to you guys who are doing that, but no questions yet. Please ask your questions here. If you have any, just type them in and I'll ask them of Stephanie. But anybody live here that has a question about how we, just in general, Stephanie is a fantastic.
In general, I've attracted to realty for a very long time. I was just attracting to realty because that's all we had.
Yes. Okay. Can you drop that script in the chat? Tanya says. Maybe you say it again, and I can even chat it if you want, or I can. Do that if
you type it in. Very simple through LinkedIn. It's sending through a message and the email messaging in LinkedIn. I say, hey, whoever their name is, I see you're in the real estate industry just like me. Here is my calendar link. Can we grab 15 minutes to talk about our businesses and see how we can make money together? They always take it. They always take it.
Love it. All right, I'm chatting it in. Any other questions?
I do.
Hello?
Sorry that I'm driving. Hi, I don't know if this was addressed when I was briefly off the call, but Stephanie, I know just like with the residential side, there have been challenges with the local brokers in each market for commercial for obvious reasons. Just that's what happens in the beginning when you're trying to build a brokerage. But I just wondered if you had experienced that improving. It really does make a difference when we're talking to these agents. I've just had personal experience, bad experiences with a couple. So just wanted to not to add doom and gloom, but it's a question.
I think that, look, on anything that's new, right? There's going to be growing pains. Everything can't be perfect. But here's what I always do with agents, especially if they've gone through an onboarding or, their first transaction, they weren't used to the SkySlope thing and they forgot to upload things. So they're not getting paid in the 48 hours or less that, we say in the ICA. Here's what I always tell them. Look, you're still saving a ton of money. Okay. Remember, we're 20 grand in a cap. That's it. Okay. And let's work through this and just be proactive and work through that. I mean, be able to reach out to that state broker at eXp Commercial and say, look, help me do this and get it done. I mean, the team there is very, very proactive and they're there to listen and help and do as much as they can. Nothing's going to be perfect. It never will be. It just won't be. But there's too many positives that outweigh any inch of negatives that could arise.
Yeah,
and I set
agree.
people up. I set people up with that. Look, it's guys, when I joined eXp Realty, there was no joining app at all. Like it was write signatures and they emailed it to you. It went back and forth via email. It took 17 attempts to get right. And so look at how far we've come and graduated. Parker Dunahay's done amazing with VP of agent experience. So just be there to know, expect it's not going to be easy. It's not streamlined, and just be a little bit more careful and be their right hand.
Of course. And it had no reference to onboarding. I understand all that. And we need to set our folks up for that. This was more on the brokerage side with brokerage specific deals and questions that couldn't be answered and that sort of thing. So just from an expertise and a response, local response, and we can talk offline about that. Yeah, okay. It has nothing to do with those common things. I get that.
And I think you're right, though. When we're growing rapidly, like we were, 5 years ago on the residential side, I think a lot of those same things happen because growth of any speed is going to create some challenges to find the right staff members and support. And so what I think would be awesome is if you're in an area where that might be a challenge, like maybe there isn't a really experienced commercial broker and you've got some commercial agents, ask them, who do you know? Because if we can bring some more commercial agents over like you, let's bring in a great freaking broker and let's crush this in this state together. And you could be the conduit for helping grow this. And it could be a huge opportunity for you in a whole bunch of different ways. Because a lot of the top agents are going to know people that could be a great broker maybe. And I actually do this in some of the areas where even on the residential side, maybe it feels like there's a lot of agents and not as many brokers yet, or they're in hiring mode. I ask the people I'm recruiting, who do you know? Let's find somebody together. Let's be part of this, because what a great opportunity. And that's interesting because people kind of get excited about being able to be in the growth and in the solution and opportunity, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
And I guess, you know, on the commercial side, if they're saving thousands potentially of dollars per month, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars on the technology and tools, is they have now an opportunity to build and grow across the nation with ease and no risk, and they can eliminate those expenses and they can make hundreds of thousands of dollars more. They're probably willing to kind of oversee some of these things. And honestly, I love your directness, Stephanie, because it's all about setting that expectation and saying, let's get you in here and then let's work together to find that solution. But man, you know, I think that's you know, there's some solutions we could put in place here for how much you're going to save. We can make this work, right? And most people are going to say, yeah, that's the case. And I think let's find some of the people that want to be in the pioneering space. I always say, like, do we want people that have no desire to grow and don't like pioneering and don't like opportunity and are completely resistant to change and are going to complain about these things? Or do we want people that are like, heck yes, let's just do this and be part of it, and let's pioneer and let's grow and find these opportunities and go through these challenges? Those are the people we want to be in business with. And there's plenty of them. They just don't know they have an opportunity to even do it, because most of them have been at organizations where they have not had that voice. They have not had that opportunity of growth. And they've been in more of a traditional space that you just go to work, do your deals, split your commissions with your broker and go home. This is a whole different ball of wax, and it's just a really, really awesome opportunity. Any final ahas, thoughts, questions from anybody? Please don't be shy, unmute yourselves. This is a very exciting opportunity. I already know who I'm going to send this recording to, because I've got a great commercial agent in a different state of mind that's been a friend of mine for a long time. And he just needs to hear about the opportunities, and who else to hear some great success, but from Stephanie. So I'm excited. Think about this. Who could you share this with, you guys? One person. Go out there and get into some sort of action with this call today. And I think it's going to bring you much benefit. Greg, Tanya, anybody, Chrissy, anybody got Barry, any comments or questions? All right. Well, thank you guys. We have a number of people saying thank you. I think some people can't get off. What does Barry says? Pigeon delivery, whatever that means. He might have been responding to something a while ago. Barry, your one-liners are the best. Everybody's saying thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. What a great, when we joined 4 years ago for onboarding. Yeah, right. Exactly. Barry.
Yeah, it was. Well, I challenge everybody, pick up the phone, make some calls, or send messages. If you're scared of the phone, use LinkedIn messaging, send an email, reach out. You have an opportunity right now. Ask them about their business, ask them about what they think of the current economy. You know, what are they looking to do to pivot? You know, these are all opportunities that you need to just bring. Don't be scared of it. Look, I've been hung up on, I've been yelled at, I've had all the above happen. It just fires me up to make another call.
I agree. It's like, let me show you, I'm going to find somebody today.
Yeah, exactly. So just do it.
I love it. Just do it. Well, we hope that we can see many of you at EXPCon next week on Monday. We will not have this call for that reason, and we will not have our Tuesday and Wednesday calls. But this week, we still have our calls tomorrow and on Wednesday. So make sure you guys tune in, invite a guest. Don't forget that we've got all of our masterminds, and we've got great guest speakers, just like Stephanie joined us today. They're spending their time and energy, and it's so appreciated. I hope you guys take something away from it and go do something to move the needle forward in your business. Don't let this opportunity be lost on you, okay? Thanks so much, you guys, for joining. Stephanie, as always, hopefully I'll see you in Vegas. Will you be there?
I'll be there. I will be there.
All right, I'll see you then. Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
all.
Have a great week.